everyone, and welcome to an all-new episode of The Loud Casa Talks. My name is Nate, and alongside is my good buddy Omid. Omid, you're already being festive right now.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, loud crowd of Casa Crew. I hope you all are being such good boys and good girls this year. Doing your Christmas shopping, decorating your houses full of lights and Christmas trees and junk. Hopefully shopping for your friends and family. And yeah, getting ready to have a very Merry Christmas, y'all.
So this tells me that you already got my Christmas gift?
Yeah, I haven't gotten your Christmas gift just yet, but like I'm about to get it. I'm about to get it though.
Okay.
Like
This thing,
I haven't done my Christmas shopping just yet, but I definitely will sometime before Christmas. That's for sure.
yeah. To say the least, though, the post that I put up on Twitter, right, about the fan page of Loud House, saying like if any artist has their print, what is it, their price listings for commissions, let me know. There's a reason why I asked that. Okay.
Christmas, huh? Christmas,
Maybe,
huh?
yeah, some Christmas gifts for some fellow Loud House and Casa Grande fans. Just a heads up.
But yeah,
All right.
like I said before, I plan to do my Christmas shopping, going around the malls and stores and stuff, like at least sometime this week. Definitely.
All right, that sounds good. I still have a lot more shopping to do. Well, thankfully that the thing is, um, I pretty much my weekdays are pretty much all like empty right now. So to say the least, I'm also working on fan art at the same time, also shopping as well. So I'm also shopping for my parents, shopping for my sister, my cousins, etc. So there's a lot of things to do when it comes to like family shopping and everything. But of course, gotta shop for my friends. I have a theme for my friends shopping at the moment, so I've gotta think about like what to buy to say in order for them to actually like it. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
a lot of thinking to say. And
yeah, I gotta
also
do.
and also the other thing too is that when January hits, my birthday's also coming up. Plus at the same time, Anime Los Angeles is also coming up as well. So it's like I'm celebrating a lot of things this next couple of weekends.
I know, yeah. It's you got all these holidays bunched up and stuff. Yeah, I got shopping to do for my my family, friends, including you, of course. So yeah, I've got a whole bunch of spending
So
to
yeah,
do.
your Christmas list has not been taken care of, I would imagine.
Not yet, not yet.
Don't worry, that's all of us. That's all of us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys are doing not us right now, just trying to shop for the holidays. Hopefully you get it done before things close at this December 24th. Don't be like Lincoln, where she actually left something out for Lola.
Yeah, like not something you want to pull as a season's cheatings Lincoln.
All right, so let's actually stop. Let's actually we all caught up right now, so let's actually head over to our recent news. And the only recent news that we actually want to give out right now is the fact that we actually have a brand new comic book that came out. It's called Love Out Loud. Omid and I pretty much have our comic books here. Yeah, Love Out Loud just came out, and a lot of stories came out from this comic. By the way, Omid, let's highlight some of the best comics. Omid, you have one that you want to talk about. Please discuss.
Now, I will say this. The highlights for me were, of course, the Saluna comics and the Ronnie comic. But honestly, I think my favorite out of all these is Cafe Confusion, where it centers around Sam trying to do something for Luna. Now, for the most part, we've seen like episodes of comics focusing on Luna trying to do something for Sam. But here it's the other way around, where Sam plays a main role trying to do something for Luna. I love how like their relationship is sort of like a two-way street. It's a give and take sort of thing, where it's not just Luna trying to prove herself to Sam as her girlfriend, but it's also Sam trying to prove her worth as well. And of course, the comic shows Sam trying to see what is Luna's favorite flavor of coffee, and then she ends up ordering a whole bunch of different coffees, like trying to see, because she doesn't know what Luna's favorite flavor is. And so when Sam confesses that she doesn't know what Luna's favorite flavor is, Luna just says, "Oh, it doesn't matter as long as I'm with you. Like, it doesn't matter what flavor my favorite coffee is." Like, oh my god, I adore it so much. And honestly, like as both a Saluna shipper and as a major coffee drinker, this is a comic I especially appreciate.
Here's the thing, though. did you feel that there's a lot of Cell Luna comics in this? Because there was
A good
one
chunk.
with the comic. There
Good
was the one
chunk.
with the comic, and then there was one where, let's say, for example, they were a band. This was one of them, by the way. I literally thought that
Yes.
was actually cute, by the way. Literally are saying to each
Yes.
other like that, and I thought it was like, oh my god, it's so adorable.
Yeah, I know.
and then the other thing too is that there was also a Saluna comic where they actually help Hop Pop with Myrtle. How'd you feel
Yeah.
about that one?
Yeah, apparently Sunset Canyon has their own prom in a sense, like similar to a senior prom, but literally senior in this case. I do love how it's Luna and Sam helping out Luna's grandpa Hop Pop with his date. It's a very nice touch, and it's a kill two birds with one stone thing where it not only succeeds as a Saluna comic, but it also succeeds as a Pop Up and Myrtle comic as well.
Yeah, so it's just cool to actually have like the younger siblings actually help Pop in their situation. It's kind of cool because you get to see like Hop Pop and Myrtle, which is still a couple, and it's kind of cool that they are together. There's a couple others that are also there too. It's a Carl and Adelaide one, which I thought was pretty cute. It's actually helping the frogs like date. I think it was Froggy too that wanted to get a date with another frog, and then Carl and Adelaide were there also to help out as well. How'd you feel about that comic?
Yeah, I really like that comic as well. Of course, it's nice to see. I was just gonna say, sassy Adelaide is best Adelaide, especially with how she's being sassy towards Carl and his attitude. She like rolls her eyes to be like, "Carl, what do you know about love?" it sort of plays into it sort of plays into the continuity of the episode where it's sort of continuity from Squawk in the Name of Love, in which I've stated before in that episode, in which it's Adelaide that carries that episode. Same thing here. Like Adelaide really does carry this comic here as well.
I think yeah, there's only one of those Carl and Adelaide comics, but I felt like it's just pretty much them working each other out. Still, it's just cute to actually have those two actually hang out, and you just feel like they are friends, but you could totally see them as boyfriend girlfriend possibly.
I totally do. Believe me, I totally do. Even if they're at such a young age, believe me, I totally see them as ship material.
Yeah, I know. Now, there's also this what kind of sucks though is that Luanne and Benny don't really have a lot of the spotlight here in this comic. They only have one comic, which is called Opening Night. But I felt it was actually pretty heartwarming the fact that Luanne actually welcomes Benny and they both have like a good show together.
Yeah, it really does show how they have so much chemistry, not just off stage, but on stage as well.
Which I thought was pretty cute. I was gonna show up the picture here. Where is that at? They're all over the place, by the way. It's pretty small, but this is the only thing I found when I was from Lou Benny. But yeah, this was the comic here. Let's hear it for Benny Stein, and then they're sharing puns together. I thought that was pretty cute and all.
Yeah, it turns out that it's not just Luann that has a punny side to her. It's also Benny. But I guess like Benny has his punny side inspired by Luann. Like he pretty much was inspired by his girlfriend Luann to unleash his punny side as well.
Which you never see the punny side of Benny at all. So then again, they're both comedic people. I mean, they both pretty much are the same person. They literally have their own puppet, and they are funny characters. So yeah, Luann and Benny are supposed to be are like a really cute couple. Can't wait to see how that ship continues with these two. And then best of all, we can't forget about obviously Ronnie and Lincoln. If you've been noticing the last couple of comics, there was a friendiversary comic that they partaked in. Remember, Lincoln was doing these tricks to impress Ronnie Ann. Remember, Ronnie Ann did all this stuff from her familia to Lincoln's best friends in order to win a prize. They met up together in this comic, and holy moly, it was everything we wanted.
Oh my god, yes. Like everything about this Ronica comic, oh my god, I just adore it. Look at that. Like I really adore this comic because it really does capture the true spirit of Ronikin. Like this really does capture the true spirit. From the blushing to the name calling, even down to the literal friendly punches towards each other. It's just, oh my god, everything that we come to love about Ronikin is all combined into one beautiful Ronikin comic, and I adore this comic for that.
I just love the fact that like in this comic here, it just shows you like, oh yeah, I'm doing my tricks. Oh crap, I ruined your gift for me. I'm gonna fix it with glue, and then Ronnie Ann hugs Lincoln, and it's the cutest thing at the end.
And the hug too, where she hugs him. It's like happy friend anniversary. It's like, where was that in the actual series?
I'm
Like,
sorry,
how is
I'm serious. Like the comic is absolutely like supporting the ship, but why is it not in the animated series? We have Prankiversary, not
I mean,
Friendiversary, which is cuter here because it's Friendiversary. They're sharing each other's like interests here, and then you go to say for example like Prankiversary. There's more of them just pranking each other. That's more like a friendship thing compared to this, which is like more of a romantic thing.
granted, we have seen a few Ronikin hugs and even a kiss at one point. But the thing is, though, is that the comics make Ronikin like much more affectionate. Like you could tell that like Ronikin in the comics shows much more affection than the actual series does, and that's because the comic is not afraid. It doesn't shy away from how much of a true like OTP that Ronikin really is.
They are, and you know, yeah, they could just pretty much be treated as friends in the animated series. But look, the comic book is absolutely like doing its best to actually like say, "Hey, we hear you, so we'll support it and actually put it in a comic, so you guys can actually like read and enjoy it." Which, by the way, we all enjoyed. Most definitely enjoyed
Yes,
it for sure. So
absolutely.
the other thing too is that there are also other comics as well. I know there's a Lalo comic that was in here where Lalo tries to find love. There's a Lily and the Bear comic, which by the way, kind of is a continuity to Ellis for Love. Am I right?
I remember, yeah, Lily with the teddy bear, and it's like, okay, like Lily and the bear, they're OTP as well. Come on, Lily and the bear.
There's also a comic with Clyde's dads. That was more of just like, yeah, they like each other. They try to make a date, but turns out to not work out because of the cats.
There's also the one with the Glart. There's also the Glart comic
Oh
with
yeah,
Sid's
The
parents
Chang's
and
parents.
Maria.
Yeah, I forgot about that Chang's parents as well, where they actually had a comic as well. But it was just more of them like, oh yeah, we're dating, but then oh we still have to manage the glart and everything. There's also one too about there's also one that I thought was kind of felt weird was well felt really heartbroken somehow. Remember that Lucy comic where they Lenny did forgot Lucy's gift and then Lucy's like sigh and then it was just a mistake because Charles took it.
Yeah, I actually found that really heartwarming, and it's actually one of the best comics in this volume because it really does show how, despite it being titled "Love Out Loud," it doesn't show love in a romantic sense, but it also shows love between siblings as well. So I do like how they added that comic to this.
And it definitely just tells you there's always different kinds of love that are around that are around the world to say. There's also this one comic as well where let's say Carl and Ronnie Ann were in a dance competition, but this was more the love part is mostly just because they were in a cousin's wedding to say. What are your thoughts on that one?
I thought the one was a friendly competition between Ron Yen and Carl. I would have loved to have seen the cousin her or himself. Since it takes place in the cousin's wedding, and technically, uh, this is a Love Out Loud comic, and weddings are pretty much the weddings are essentially like the centerpiece, like the place for love. So
Right.
I would have loved to
So
see the cousin herself.
look, I mean, like the cousins, you see it, you see it there. They were like dancing that one panel, but then it was pretty much mostly all Carl and Ronnie Ann just dancing like in the background somewhere. But yeah, and then you also get to see like the other couples dance, like Rosa and Hector. You also get to see Carlos and Frida dancing together as well. But yeah, I thought that was like okay, cool, but it's just more of a comedy comic between Carl and Ronnie Ann. Last but not least, I kind of like the Lori and Bobby comic. Over the line is what it's called. I think something I don't know what happened here, but it feels like things just turn out to be disaster every time they go on a date or something.
Yeah, like they wanted to go to this crow waffle place, but then it turns out that the line is so huge, and it turns out that like Maybell pointed out that she had to wait 6 hours to get her crow waffle sundae, so you could tell how packed it really is. So it turns out that things don't go exactly as well as planned. So instead, they go to a hot dog stand, which honestly, I don't understand why it's not Bruno, why it's some random guy and not Bruno in the hot dog stand,
No,
whatever. And
exactly.
that turns out to be packed up.
I'm guessing like, wait, so it doesn't matter like where they go, they always get it packed up. Nonetheless, they're still cute together. By the way, Lori looks good in pink, by the way.
She really does. I'm like, why is she always dressed in light blue? She can always
She
dress
always has
as
light
other
blue,
colors some other time.
you always see her in her date outfits. Remember, she did dress light blue in what is it, Save the Date? But then she wears pink in this comic, so it's like, oh, okay, so maybe she looks cute in this.
Yeah, she looks good in pink too. Like not just light blue, she looks good in other colors like pink and also white. In terms of her golf outfit.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, nonetheless, Laura's amazing. But to say the least, Omid, I would say this is definitely a book to really recommend out there. I really enjoyed every story of this. So to all the people who made the comic well, I know that Tyler was one that's on Twitter. If you're listening to us right now, you did a great job on this. Inkuma is also one person, one of our favorite artists that worked on this as well, did the coloring on the comic book. So props out to you. And to say the least, yeah, I mean, like most of the cast was able to work on this comic and it looked great. This is not a numbered comic, by the way. This is a special. So it's like one of those winter specials, summer specials. This is pretty much a Valentine's special. So it's like, this is cute. Keep buying it if you guys can.
Yeah, I know this is technically came out on Christmas season, but nonetheless, like this will totally capture your heart. And let me tell you, you'll end up falling in love with this comic. Okay, just as much as the characters fall in love with each other here, you will instantly fall in love with this comic. So please go buy it. It's well worth the price.
Mm-hmm. It definitely was worth it, especially reading through all of this. All right. Without further ado, let's actually head over to our main subject today, which is a Loud House Christmas movie review. All right. Well, since it's almost Christmas time, it's time to review the latest Loud House movie that is released on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus on Black Friday. Yeah, literally Black Friday, literally the day after Thanksgiving. That's right, it's called Loud House Christmas. This movie is like no other, where we actually have a live action adaptation of the Loud House characters. Now we have already discussed our thoughts about how and why we have to make this live action. You know, we have mixed feelings about it. We were kind of thinking like, oh, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Is it going to really follow a formula, et cetera, et cetera? But yeah, you can listen to all of those episodes back. You know, we recorded this a long time ago, so please listen to those episodes so you can hear our thoughts about why we think the Loud House Christmas was questionable. But you know what? We're Loud House fans. We ended up watching the movie. And to say the least, this is why we're having this Loud House Talks right now. So yeah, let's go ahead. We both watched it together. Let's go ahead and get this review to start things off here. All right. So, Omid, overall, how did you feel about the movie? I'm just going to put it like straightforward. How did you feel about the movie?
Now, I'm just going to say this right now. In terms of my overall thoughts on the movie itself, I'm going to say this. It's a good film, but not a great film. And the reason why I don't think it's a great film, well, we're going to touch upon that later. But needless to say, in terms of how live action adaptations of animated properties go, let me tell you, this is definitely one of the better ones. Okay, like this actually turned out to be better than I thought because there were actually parts. There were actually some parts, some aspects where it really did succeed in that field.
Let it not be just like an Avatar or what was it? I don't know what are the other live action adaptations. A Fairly Odd Parents, Christmas, etc. That kind of movie. At least this one was tolerable, let's say. All right,
yeah,
there you go. But then again, it could be also just the fact that we're Loud House fans.
No, there's no bias at all. Like honestly, I'm just gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you. Like when I first heard that there was going to be Loud House live action Christmas adaptation, I was like dreading it. I was like dreading it.
Mm-hmm.
But then later on,
wait, wasn't that all of us though? I think all of us were saying like, why are we having a live adaptation? I think our thoughts were thinking like, oh, is it going to be just like the Fairly Odd Parents movies where they literally had 3 movies and they all were like, eh. I mean, yeah. The second and third one were terrible. The first one was like, okay, fine, but then 2 and 3 was like, why would you push me?
Even the first one sucked.
Oh, really?
Yes, it did.
Okay, I thought one was okay. Then again, first one didn't really have Vicky. Like, no, yeah, you put that as a deleted scene. Why? Vicky was like the main person who actually like tolerated Timmy Turner.
And it made no sense why, Timmy would end up falling in love with Tootie, given that, Tootie was the one who was like
It's weird.
constantly stalking
It was
Timmy. It's
weird.
like,
Okay, we're not gonna go down this rabbit hole, by the way. Please, just let's continue here. um, yeah, but like I said, overall good movie. But now let's actually go ahead and break down everything that we saw from this movie. So let's actually start it off at the beginning. So at the beginning, for the first couple of minutes, we get to see Lincoln and the rest of the Louds doing their usual antics in the Loud House, and we get to see the live action cast for the first time. I mean, Omid, from this first couple of scenes, what are your first impressions with the Loud cast?
now, from what I've seen from these first couple of scenes, it really does feel like, I can see that they've put their hearts into the film, especially by its production design and its casting. Like, when you take a good look at the movie, even in the first 2 minutes, you can already tell that you are in a live action Royal Woods. Same with the Loud House and its residents. You can tell that it's the Loud House literally coming to life. Like, when you see Wolfgang as Lincoln Loud, you see him as the real Lincoln Loud. And the same applies to the other actors and the characters. So it gave me a very good first impression. And honestly, major shout outs to the prop designers and the casting directors for how well they really pulled off the look of the film and the
I mean,
characters.
okay, so the thing about this, like when you first see it, like the window pans all the way to Lincoln's window, the circular window where you see Lincoln Loud. And the thing is that he looks just like Lincoln Loud. Like the Wolfgang actually does look like Lincoln, like even with the little turkey top that he always has, and the orange polo and everything. It just absolutely looks like a 11-year-old kid who's Lincoln Loud, and he looks pretty cool. Then he walks down the aisle, and you get to see Luanne, who does a perfect impression. These actors and actresses are doing a really good job, by the way. Luanne, you get to see Luanne. Luanne did a pretty good impression. Same goes to Mr. Coconut. She actually can hold the Mr. Coconuts well. Lucy Loud, who always scares people. You get to see Lisa, and she also has that lisp, which I thought was really cool. Because, like, yeah, she could be like a 5-year-old kid, but you have the look of Lisa, and she also have the scientist look as well, and you have the lisp. It kind of feels like Lisa Loud, right?
It really does. Yeah.
And then you get to see Luna Loud. She's rocking out loud, making the song for Christmas. And you get to see Lenny fashionable with what's her name? Tanya. Yeah, because Tanya is apparently a thing. It's weird because, like, yeah, Tanya was only mentioned leader of the rack, but I love the fact that they put her in this movie. I'm like, but how about everybody else?
I feel they all pulled off their characters very well, like I said, but
yeah.
especially Sophia Woodward as Luna and Dora Dolphin as Lenny are the standout performances.
And then you also get to see the twins, the Allen twins, who were Lola and Lana. I would say the least though, Lola did a pretty good impression. I don't know which twin it was, but Lola did really well. Lana needed more airtime, but to say the least, she had a frog with her. She pretty much hops. So it's pretty much Lana and Hops just being dirty and stuff like that. And I love the fact that get to see the whole like buck teeth and everything that's all gone. They're kids and stuff. And then the first impression also for Lynn Sr. and Rita. Lynn Sr. Obviously Lynn Sr. He actually pulled it off pretty well. Like, yeah, I get it. He is Lynn Sr. He is the voice of Lynn Sr. But he can also act like Lynn Sr. as well. And can also pull off the look.
Yeah, it really does show how he could pull off the same character. Like not just with the voice, but also by physical appearance as well. Like he can pull it off like in both forms. Like pull off the voice in the animated Lynn Sr. and also it's the physical appearance and the body language of the live action adaptation of the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just, so to say the least, overall, like when you get introduced walking down the aisle with Lincoln Loud, you get to see pretty much everyone is actually on par with the character that they're representing. Like Sophia Woodward, Luna Loud, the twins who are Lola and Lana, Bryce the Panic, who's Lynn Sr. Sorry, I forgot the actors and actresses' names, so please please bear with me here. But to say the least, everybody else did a great job acting out the character of the Loud House, to say. Like, they did a great job. I mean, from the first from when you're walking with Lincoln Loud, you just know that they did a good job. You could just feel the vibe that is like the Loud House to say.
Yes, and what I especially respect about the casting is that these aren't A-list type celebrities. Like, no, they're actually actors and actresses who are like these actors and actresses aren't very well known compared to the A-list celebrities. Like they're not big names. So I do like the fact that the casting directors, they didn't simply take the easy way out and and get Hollywood typecast celebrities to
Mhm.
pull off the characters. No, they actually paid close attention to the physical appearances and how well they could potentially pull off the characters. Like they could have easily casted, let's say, Chris Pratt to play as Lynn
Oh
Senior.
God, please no.
Imagine how that would have turned out. Chris
No more
Pratt
Chris
as Lynn
Pratt.
Senior.
No more Chris Pratt. Oh my God, please.
Okay, no,
Um,
but in
but
all seriousness though, like major respect to the actors and actresses that really did pull off their characters very well, despite not having much experience with Hollywood movies and such.
yeah, exactly. Then again, like, this is Nickelodeon. This is not like Paramount or, Sony Pictures or, Disney-esque sort of films. This is just Nickelodeon, and they obviously have a smaller budget compared to like the other big movies. You're not gonna have such big talents come out here and make a very awesome Loud House movie. And either way, if actually Hollywood picked it up, then I would actually be worried.
Yeah, no, imagine how Hollywood have handled it. Let me tell you, I don't think they would have handled it too well.
At least this was filmed in Atlanta, so that makes it a little bit better. One thing I also do want to point out, how accurate was the house? Like, how accurate was everything? Like, from the house to Vanzilla. I mean, yeah, I understand the front lawn could be it's not the same, but still, though, I mean, you have pretty much the whole house being accurate to say the least, right?
Again, if I were the producers, like I would give the production designers and the prop designers a major bonus raise for doing their homework and for really capturing the details of the Loud House and Vanzilla perfect to a T. It is just so amazing.
Now,
And it's not just limited to just what we see now. It's also the other items that we see in the house, such as the Ace Savvy poster, such as
mhm.
Tanya, such as the McSwagger poster. Like everything in that Loud House, they capture it just as beautifully on the inside, like interior decorating, the designing, as they do as the exterior designing of the Loud House.
Well, I was gonna say though, because they actually did it accurately. The fact that you remember that back behind the scenes look where they went into Luda and Luanne's room, it did go up to a T, because the thing is that it actually was really like top tier to say.
Yes, yes, it was.
They really did do their homework, and it's like till you watched a lot of Loud House episodes, so you pretty much referenced all the Loud House episodes and made that room like it is right now, which I thought was like, that's awesome. That's awesome. You actually did your homework, and it looks great. Everything looks great. This is like the literal Loud House, which is awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So yeah. So here's the thing. Yeah, we understand this is the Loud House. Christmas is happening. We get to see the decorations up front and everything all around here. After the Louds meet up together for breakfast, the Louds would get a call from Lori in college that she will not be able to make it for Christmas due to her busy schedule. It is also here where Luna would go on a ski trip with Sam, and Luann would do a live show all day, and Christmas Day in Sunset Canyon, where Pop Pop is. Yeah. With them gone, the rest of the Louds plan to take a trip to Miami, which leads to all the Louds Christmas traditions to not be the same like previous years, which makes Lincoln upset also. So first off, how did you like the fact that we're on the same timeline like season 5? I mean, Laurie's in college, and you have Luna and Sam together, and it just feels like we're in a season 5 episode technically.
Okay, now I love the fact that this film stays up to date in terms of the current timeline of the series, because this movie shows how it is aware that we are currently at an age of the Loud House where some of the characters have grown up and moved on to bigger things in life, like Lincoln in middle school, Lily in preschool, and as we've seen in this live action Loud House Christmas movie itself, Lori in college.
Yeah, so I love the fact that it's all season 5 accurate, but there's also things that are also kind of like feel weird when it comes to actually putting it in season 5, but we'll discuss more of that later. So how'd you like that? So here's the thing: they're going to break tradition. They're not going to be all together in Christmas because you get to see Sam and Luna pretty much go off to a ski trip. You get to see Lori not be there, and Luanne pretty much out all day doing comedy over at Sunset Canyon while everybody else goes to Miami. To say the least, Royal Woods is not going to be the same without the Louds. Lincoln doesn't like that, obviously, but here's the thing: how do you like the idea of the Louds breaking tradition for just this year?
This personally didn't bother me. And of course, as much as I do love loud family traditions, it's good to mix things up every once in a while and do something different. Now, I'm going to confess and say this. Had they gone in that route, had they gone on with that type of plan that the Loud family had in mind, like had they actually went with the plan and taken that certain route, I felt that would have made for a much stronger Loud House movie story. Now, no, we're going to touch upon that. Now, here's the thing, though. I do love that they acknowledge that it's good to mix these up. At least that's what most of the characters do keep in mind. But there is one, just one, amongst the big family who doesn't exactly think the same way.
Right. So my thing is that if we actually did move into the direction where like we get to see Luanne, let's say for example the rest of the movie was like we get to see Luna and Sam have fun at a ski trip, we get to see Luanne in that comedy show, we get to see Lori golf in that tournament, and we get to see all the kids pretty much in Miami. Wouldn't that be a much better, more exciting Christmas movie to say?
Yes, because it would have been the Loud House doing something much more unique, much more different plot wise than what we got right here, because it's kind of a mixture, sort of a mixture of the animated Loud House movie combined with sort of a structure of what they did with Schooled, because it's most of the Louds going on a trip, out of state trip to Miami, and it had the potential had the potential to work as a story because Miami is an eventful city. So with each Loud, they have the potential to work in a setting such as Miami. And the thing is, why I bring up Schooled, why I bring up it brings up a bit of Schooled is because because Schooled also had sort of a plot A, plot B, plot C, plot with Lincoln, Lori, and Lily. I feel like this could have worked also because like this could have potentially had a manageable plot B and plot C, plot D, plot with Luna and Sam on the ski trip, Luanne at Sunset Canyon, and Lori in Fairway College, respectively.
Here's the thing, though. I believe it would be a much longer movie if that was the case, because you're going to pretty much have 4 tangents all have their own like movie in what, an 1 hour 30-minute 2 hour movie. That's a lot to put up there. I believe they kind of strict it down to this storyline because they don't have the money for it.
I can understand, but it's just I wish they had gone with that route, not just because it would have worked functionally at much better as a Loud House movie story, but also because it would have been a much more appropriate length for a Loud House Christmas movie because, well, it's called a movie, which means that it's supposed to be much longer than an hour. You know what I mean?
Which I mean, it is. It lasted 1 hour and 6 minutes, but it could have been longer than that if we actually went through that tangent. Still, though, I mean, just one straight storyline about Lincoln Loud was pretty much what the movie was. So obviously it makes sense. The best boy in the Loud House, you obviously need to focus on him. And yeah, that's pretty much your movie. I mean, look back at the Loud House movie, for example.
My God, this movie is way too short. I think like one complaint I have to point out right now: the movie is way too short for a movie, even if it's 1 hour and 6 minutes. Like we all thought that the animated Loud House movies, length, like the runtime of the movie was short. Like, yeah, we all complained that the animated Loud House movie was short, But let me tell you, in comparison to the Loud House live action movie, in terms of length at least, let me tell you, the animated Loud House movie, in terms of length, looks like Lord of the Rings compared to this. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing I would love to say though. It would be cool to actually see like I'm pretty sure Omid would love this to see Luna and Sam actually have that ski trip.
Yes,
I want
yes, yes.
I want to see how that goes. I would love to see like Sam. I want to see Luna like not be a thrill seeker. Like I don't know how to ski, so Sam helps her out. Ooh, that would be a romantic thing.
Exactly. Why couldn't that have been the movie instead of what we got here with the season 5? Why could that have been the movie instead of? Well, we're going to touch upon that later. I'm just saying that could have been a good movie in itself.
I'm getting Omid round up because there's a lot of Saluna things that happen, especially in the comic, and of course this movie too. But that didn't happen. I would love to see Lori win a tournament. I mean, I'm a Lori fan. I would definitely love to see Lori win a tournament. I would love to see Luanne prank some comedy with the old people like Pop Pop and what was it, Ed Scoot and Nana Gale, for example. But no, we ended up actually having a story about Lincoln Loud. And this is where we actually have to think about this for a second, because Lincoln is the main focus of the story. Because he was not pleased about the fact that obviously they're not going to have their tradition. Lincoln obviously went back to, how you say, season 1 Lincoln. Omid, with Lincoln upset, a plan has come to mind. And how did you feel that Lincoln may end up ruining their Christmas for his personal gain?
Okay, now I will say this. In terms of selfish Lincoln plots, I'm going to say this. It's not the worst I've seen. Oh, no. Not by a long shot. No. I've seen much worse. Because to this movie's credit, I'm going to say this. At least this movie does establish that Lincoln worked his ass off and saved all that money in order to pay for that huge sled. He had to shave Lynn Singer's hair from his back. He even had to pick up some poo-poo. So I can understand to some sort of degree why Lincoln would react the way he did. It's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be upset, especially after all the hard work he had to pull through, after all the hard labor. But what is not okay, what is an absolute no-no, is all the crap he pulls next, and we're going to touch upon that right now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I felt like Selfish Lincoln is coming back again. Look, I mean, we looked at the plot. We saw that it's going to be Lincoln trying to get all of the plans ruined in order for him to, get his Christmas tradition for the Louds. And it's like, are we going back to season 1 with Lincoln where, he was always selfish and always wants to get forgiveness and things like that. See, that was the worrisome moment, and it's kind of happened in this movie, don't you think?
Exactly. And here's the thing. What makes us worse is that this is not an appropriate story plot for something that's supposed to take place in season 5.
This is a season 5 episode, technically. This is supposed to be where Lincoln actually matures. This actually just makes it a fallback, saying like, oh, Lincoln is sort of not matured, and he does all of this craziness in the movie.
Yeah, and I will say this, like, okay, granted, Lincoln is still a kid. Lincoln still...
He's getting older, though. He's in he's in middle school. So you would think that the mature schooled Lincoln will come into play. But no, we're going back to good old Lincoln, who's like sees his cheatings, for example.
like it's not the fact that Lincoln acts selfish, period, because let's be honest, even in season 5, Lincoln does have his selfish moments. Look at how the best was won. But the thing is, the problem I have with how the live action movie handles Lincoln is that his selfishness is like way over the top. Like it sort of feels like he's going backwards. He's going like backwards, right. Like season 1 levels of selfishness. That's the problem.
If you look back at like how everything was set up in this movie, it kind of feels like Caesar's cheatings, right?
Yeah, but the thing with Caesar's cheatings was that what I liked was that like at least Caesar's cheatings, they took like a different route with it. Like they sort of like had their own spin on it.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying like the whole setup kind of feels like it. I mean, the bed. There was no like cover girls where he actually like dressed up as other people. Oh no, he did. What am I talking about? He did actually dress up as an old guy. So you kind of feel like it, right? Like Caesar's cheatings kind of feels like it. This is not for a gift, but it kind of feels like he wants to have his own way when it comes to like, family things.
Yeah, I will say this. Like, this is like this episode, this whole movie is exactly what we thought Cece's Cheese was going to be. But then, like I'm gonna say it's like the Loud House live action movie is sort of like an alternate Cece's Cheese, where like what if Cece's Cheese still went by the numbers, like beat by beat, followed the exact same you know what, like this Live House live action Christmas movie answers the question: what if Cece's Cheese went that route?
Right, exactly. So to say the least, though, it felt weird considering that Lincoln it's just gonna be all about Lincoln trying to like be selfish and stuff like that. So we'll explain more as we continue on. We're getting more down this rabbit hole anyway. So here we go. Lincoln and Clyde are now teaming up to bring Lincoln the Christmas vacation, the Christmas traditions that both of them love to see. By the way, Clyde loves these these loud Christmas traditions. By the way, I didn't know about that. Otherwise, well, that was in the movie, by the way. Otherwise known as their very long operation name that Lincoln should think of a shorter name for. To say the least, he wants to ruin all the plans his family has made to make sure his family has the usual Christmas tradition that he loves. Oh, first off, Omid, what are your thoughts on Lincoln and Clyde knowing they'll make this kind of plan?
Yeah, of course Clyde will play this role as Lincoln's yes man. Of course that will happen. I mean, it's not like, I don't know, Clyde has a voice of his own and has potential to be the voice of reason. Am I right, Nickelodeon? Am I right? And seriously, like what makes it worse is that Clyde just straight up ditches his dads in order to help Lincoln out with this plan. Like he just straight up ditches them. It's sort of rubbed me off the wrong way because it's sort of out of character for Clyde. Because yes, while Clyde can be a bit of a sidekick, a bit of a yes man to Lincoln, like there are certain limits to that, and at least he doesn't pull off the kind of crap that he does here in order to follow Lincoln's to tend to Lincoln's every whim.
I mean, I love the fact that they have the chemistry of Click and McCloud, but I don't know about this. Like, it kind of feels we're going back to season 1, for example. Like, Clyde has always been the yes man to Lincoln, and you've seen that in season 1. So we kind of are falling back into the season 1 trope, aren't we?
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem with Clyde's role here. Like Clyde is essentially like plays as a season 1 version of him, where he's essentially like, Lincoln's yes man. And yes, while Clyde still is like his sidekick, like as we've seen in later seasons, like we see that there's much more to his character, especially season 5, especially where like there are times where he can hold his ground. There are times where he can stand up to Lincoln. But here, he just tends to his every whim.
My thing is that Clyde matures and you get to see him have his own episodes. This time around, it's just more like, hey, I'm gonna be there with you, buddy. And I mean, like, yeah, it does help with the Click and McCloud relationship to say, but remember the old times when Clyde actually could do his own thing? He doesn't really have that in this movie.
Yeah, what happened to that? What happened to that? Like I said before, like it's not like he's got a voice of his own. It's not like he can be his own character. Am I right?
And look, he supported him throughout the whole thing. I mean, he made that crocodile. He was pretty much backing him up with all of the plans during this operation. I mean, to get everybody back home, to say the least. So yeah, let's go through this plan here, because first we go first to Lori, whom she got a package, which is Lynn Senior's figgy pudding, which also worked to make Lori go home. With the help of Bobby, they're on the way to Royal Woods. Explain your thoughts on this scene where Lori goes back home.
Okay, first off, my heart goes out to this delivery guy that had to send Lori this figgy pudding, because let me tell you, Lincoln and Clyde just made the job worse for that poor guy. Second, it's nice to see Lori and her college dorm. Third, I do like all the reactions that Lori has towards the figgy pudding. She hates the smell, but at the same time, she can't help but cry and love it because it reminds her of her father. And as we've seen in the show, Lori and Lynn Sr. have a very special bond. Like, you can make the argument that it's honestly one of the closest Loud family bonds in the entire series, especially from episodes like Can't Hardly Wait. Fourth, oh, hi, Bobby. Like, we got to see live action Bobby there. But where's live action Ronnie N, damn it? Huh? Where's live action Ronnie N?
Why would you bring it up? Why would you bring it up? I get it. Like, only Bobby.
Fifth. No, that's all I got.
I'm just saying, yeah, we have Bobby, and the thing is, like, could you at least have more Casa Grande's representation? I get Rosa did get mentioned. Could you at least have like, you know, you got the Mercado to get mentioned as well, but how about Ronnie Ann? How about the other characters in the Casa Grandes? You only had Bobby, which, by the way, I get it because Bobby did first appear in the Loud House, and you want to bring a reference to him. Same goes to Ronnie Ann. Why don't you want Ronnie Ann also in the movie?
Oh
I
my
don't
god.
know.
Like
um,
it's bad enough that Ronnie Yan never got a cameo in the Loud House season 5, but she doesn't get to have a role in the Loud House live action Christmas movie either. I mean, what gives? Hell, like Ronnie Yan played a much bigger role in the Loud House animated Netflix movie, for God's sakes, and that was only 3 minutes of screen time and only less than 30 words.
Exactly. So I don't know. What was the reasoning towards that? It was just more of just like having Lori and Bobby together. So you obviously want to put that up because it is a thing in the Loud House. Um, what else was I gonna say? I felt Lori was kind of dramatic, don't you think? Like, oh yeah, you opened up Figgy Pudding. I thought you don't like the dad's Figgy Pudding, but you ended up actually being so dramatic. It's like, I need to actually go back home. What was I thinking? I need to go back home, and it's just why she had to call Bobby and said like, I need to head back home. Can you get me a ride? And I'm like, this is weird. This is something Lori
Yeah,
doesn't do.
yeah. While I feel that like it is sort of irresponsible of her to ditch the
You kind of ditch your
fairway
responsibility. Yeah,
finals.
but yeah, I was gonna say you ditch your responsibilities for yeah, you had your priorities. You pretty much had it straightforward, and it all changed because of one figgy pudding.
Yeah, it's irresponsible, but at the same time, it's not too far from her character to act this way because let's be honest, like even in the actual series itself, we've seen Lori show her vulnerable and insecure side. Like we've seen that side
Hmm.
of Lori come out a lot. So honestly, this doesn't feel too far fetched.
I get it, yeah. But still, it was kind of like interesting to see Lori like that. Nonetheless, I mean, I kind of felt like Lori didn't have much to do. Literally, she just went to go. She went to Barry University, got Vicky Pudding, and then ended up hanging out with Bobby, and that was pretty much the whole movie for Lori. She was just hanging out with. He was hanging out with Bobby throughout the cold winter, throughout the cold winter night to get from Fairway University all the way to Royal Woods, and that was it. I think that was pretty much all the importance about Lori there.
Yeah, like she had more chemistry with Bobby in the movie than her own family, which is kind of a
Then again,
shame because
then again,
it's kind of a
Bobby only had like what 2 minutes of airtime to say. Like, yeah, picking up Lori, talking to Lori, and pretty much driving Lori to driving Lori to Royal Woods until they got stopped because we had to have any didn't have any gas.
But let me tell you, Bobby like is definitely boyfriend material. That is one dedicated boyfriend.
Yeah,
Him having to drive her all the way, like while he's freezing his ass off, like driving all the way to Royal Woods, specifically so Lori can spend time with his family. Let me tell you, that is a dedicated boyfriend, if you ask me.
for sure, for sure. But still, like I said, maybe we could have actually had more stuff with Lori in this case. But nonetheless, I mean, an appearance of Lori still is already great as it is. So Lori's plan, so Lincoln and Clyde's plan with Lori actually worked out. So Lori's going back home. On to Luna, where Lincoln and Clyde would make a message for McSwagger, which he invited Luna Loud to rock with him at the same time of Sam's ski trip. First off, what were your thoughts that Lincoln was ruining this Luna moment? Of course, I'm just gonna get angry.
Oh, don't you dare, Lincoln. Don't you dare do that. Okay, now the other stuff he does is bad. Okay, yes, some of the other stuff he does is bad, typical bad thing about stuff, but they pale in comparison to the atrocity he pulls off here. Let me tell you, nobody messes with Saluda. Nobody. Honestly, this is where I went from disliking this Lincoln to wanting to strangle him in his little neck.
Oh wow.
Yes. Oh, and before you tell me, well, technically it was Luna's fault for picking Mick over Sam. Well, I'm gonna make that counter argument like right now.
Wait, what?
Like I've heard arguments saying technically it was Luna's fault for picking Mick over Sam in the first place, and I'm just like I've actually got a counter argument for that.
I kind of want to say that too, but yeah, Lincoln ruined that Saluna moment. I never expected to actually like try to ruin the moment where like I get it, like Luna like Mick Swagger more than Sam. That kind of felt that way because yeah, Luna and Sam already had a date together where they were going to be like in a ski trip for the whole Christmas weekend to say the least. But Lincoln had to be the one to actually pop in and say something about McSwagger. It's like, okay, so the plan worked, but at the same time, wait a minute, Lincoln, are you thinking straight here? Aren't you a little bit mature? I mean, don't you like Ronnie Ann? Don't you feel like a relationship thing is about to like a relationship disheartening is going to be happening, unfolding in front of your eyes? Like you're ruining a perfect moment between two people just because of your selfish needs, Lincoln.
Yes,
um,
how dare you, man? Just how dare you? And some of the fact that is my OTP, like honestly, that part just really, especially pissed me off of that. Not just because it's selfish Lincoln, but it's selfish Lincoln ruining Saluna. Like honestly, it's just
This is something you never
two
expect.
bad things,
This
two
is
bad things
something
combined
you
together.
never expect from Lincoln at all. Like you never expect Lincoln to actually ruin a relationship. What is happening here for this? What mad Lincoln Loud here?
Again, the worst thing live action Lincoln Loud has ever done is this. Never mind the Sharkadale crap. This is it.
All right, so I want to hear this too because Luna actually rocking with Mick Swagger was a little bit better than than dating Sam and heading off to a ski trip with her. I don't understand this part here, but was it odd to hear Luna rocking Mick Swagger more than Sam?
Now, most people could say yes, and surprisingly enough, like I know it's going to be surprising for you guys to hear me say this, like even as this is speaking as a Saluna shipper, a diehard Saluna shipper myself, and as a Saluna shipper myself, even I have to say, I honestly don't think so. Now I've heard some arguments that it was Luna's fault also for choosing to rock with Mick over going skiing
Mm-hmm.
with Sam. Now, yes, while yes, Luna's choice here wasn't the best move she made, I'm gonna be honest. Like when you look at it, when you look at Luna's character arc in the series, it's actually quite understandable why she would make that decision. Because if you pay close attention to the show, you know that Big Swagger was really the one who changed Luna's life. Because if it
Mm.
weren't for him, she wouldn't have found her passion for rock music. Like, if it weren't for Mick, she wouldn't have been Luna Loud. If it weren't for him, she wouldn't have been the Luna Loud that we all know and love today. He is what keeps Luna going. He is what motivates Luna to pursue her passion, to give her music talents to the world, as Mick has for years. And not only that, but there are episodes, especially House Music and In the Mick of Time, where he has actually played a significant role in the episodes, and especially when it comes to Luna's growth and development. So honestly, as much as I adore, and I mean I adore Saluna with all my heart, hence why I hate Lincoln here, I honestly don't blame Luna for making the choice she did. Even if it did break Sam's heart, which, of course, don't get me wrong, I felt bad for Sam. But here's the thing, though. Even I have to question, why didn't she get excited as well? I mean, isn't Sam a Mick fan too? Wouldn't Luna have brought Sam
Did we
along to
didn't
rock
we
with
hear
Mick?
about this during In the Nick of Time, for example? I thought Sam was also a huge Mick Swagger fan too.
Exactly. So that was a bit of a
If it,
continuity issue that I don't
Yeah,
appreciate,
I
honestly.
think it was a continuity issue because the thing is that why don't Luna actually bring Sam? But then again, Sam had that trip, so I would imagine that hey, we already planned this trip, Luna. Why are you already bailing my plan with Big Swagger? So I kind of feel guilty for Sam too, considering that yeah, this plan is all set up. Why are you bailing me out because of Mick Swagger? Do you like Mick Swagger more than me? Me? So that's the thing that kind of irked me. That's the reason why I kind of felt like Luna, this is kind of out of character for you. I understand that this is the idol that made you the rock star, Luna Loud. But you also had chances where you actually did meet up with Big Swagger. Come on, house music, in the nick of time. Why not have a time off with Sam here?
Well, to be fair, Luna did have her dates with Sam as well. Like she spent a significant amount of time with both of them. But like I said before,
I would say
because Mick changed her life, it's understandable why she would go that route.
I would say though, why not have Luna and Sam go together? I mean, we do want to see more chemistry with them. Look, we're not going to see much of it. I mean, we have seen a couple of moments where like Luna and Sam do like date together, but I believe in this movie, for example, Sam and Luna with a moment like this could be like better to actually watch instead of actually having Luna rock with McSwagger to say.
Yeah, and honestly, okay, to quote a great friend of ours, the queen of continuity herself, continuity, what's that?
Not in this movie. Not in this movie.
not in this moment. Not in this moment, apparently.
I think Sam deserved better. God damn it, Luna. Why would you do that to Sam? She's an innocent young woman. How'd you do this, Luna?
Yeah, like Sonny, if you're watching or listening to this, like this moment made me quote you. So, like shout out to you for coming up with that.
Okay, well, nonetheless, Lincoln and Clyde's plan worked out. Luna is about to stay home and rock out with Mick Swagger, quote unquote. All right, so let's move on to Luann's operation in the plan here, because Lincoln and Clyde would set up pranks around Sunset Canyon where all of the members would get pranked on, like Scoots having a face full of pudding, Nana Gale getting sprayed on by Mr. Coconuts, and Pop Up getting pied on. This would eventually fire Luann as the Christmas headlining show. Omid, your thoughts on this whole scene here in Sunset Canyon?
Okay, now, is it just me, or did I find it a bit odd that not only did, Pop and Nana Gale not see right through Lincoln and Clyde's disguises? Like, I mean, seriously.
They literally say it, like, right there. It's like, do I know you? Do I know you from somewhere? Yeah, it looks like I know you too. Those kind of words. It's like,
no,
yeah,
but they question it, but like they don't jump to where they say, aha, it's Lincoln and Clyde dressed as old men. I recognize that those disguises everywhere.
I mean,
they don't actually say
they were giving strong hints. Like, they know Lincoln. They know that it looks like Lincoln and Clyde. They had strong hints. Nana Gale and Pop Up just literally have strong hints. They just never want to point it out because it feels like awkward, right? When you actually point out, you are Lincoln Loud, my old grandson.
Yeah, and honestly, like that's sort of a problem because like as we've seen like later on in the film, like when Pop tries to stick up for Luann, and like after Luann's pranks go wild and stuff like that, Pop does try to stick up for Luann, but then after a pie gets thrown at his face, Pop just like, okay, screw Luann, just fire her. It's like, yeah. I'm just like, that's so out of character for Pop. Out of character for Pop because I honestly don't buy the fact that he would just, turn against his granddaughter that easily, even if it is a pie to the face. Like, and especially like if they really do suspect that, it's Lincoln and Clyde in disguise, like why would they buy so easily that into the words that, oh, it's Luann did this, it's Luann did that? Like, wouldn't Pop and Nana Gale be a tad bit, suspicious of them? Like, if they were suspicious of them, they would have said that, like, okay, Lincoln and Clyde, what are you trying to pull off here? We know Luann didn't do this, because this plays a crucial part in the film, especially with how Lincoln ruins Luann's Christmas.
Yeah, he pretty much did, because this whole like a ruse that Lincoln and Clyde did. Because literally they just pretty much set all the pranks around Sunset Canyon that Pop, Nana Gale, even Scoots herself, she's innocent by the way, made Luann fired because of all these pranks, and it's pretty much Lincoln and Clyde setting this all up. And this kind of reminds me, like, Luann during April Fools, where she'll always prank around everywhere. This kind of reminds me of like what Luann would do during like April Fool's Day. But this time around, it's Lincoln and Clyde trying to do it on Christmas Day. So it's like,
yeah, exactly. But like Pop should know. Pop should know that Luann wouldn't just do that to the seniors on Sunset County. She wouldn't do that to like old people. Out of malice.
You heard him. You heard him before. He literally said like, "It's my granddaughter. I know she might be a little bit crazy, but we could tolerate that." Until he got pied in the face and then said fired her. So I'd imagine
exactly. I think that like it's like after the pie got thrown at his face, I gotta be honest, it was a bit out of character for him to turn against Luann so easily. All I'm saying, he would be much more understanding than that.
Yeah, and also other things too about that whole scene, bad CGI, which I'll explain later.
Oh boy.
Yeah. No, so anything so to say the least though, Luann's plans are pretty much ruined. He's pretty much going to be staying home because her show is pretty much canceled. And I love the fact that Scooch says, as head of the Sunset Canyon the board of committee or something like that, I want to fire Luann. But FYI, that was a little reference to Resident Upheaval, right? Because that kind of references like, yeah, she was the head of the Sunset Canyon like residents or something like that. It is true. Look back at Resident Upheaval.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. Like,
There's your
okay,
continuity
see,
there.
that's how you do continuity. Continuity, what's that? Oh, there's continuity. Oh, hi, continuity. I'm calling Sunny
right.
again. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Sunny will probably love this show now. Now, obviously, Luann's going to be coming back home. But how about the rest of the Louds going to Miami? Well, Lincoln and Clyde were working on a plan to keep their family away from Miami. For this to happen, they will steal Tanya and stage an event where Tanya would be attacked by this Sharkadile, a creature that is apparently real, according to Rip Hardcore. After sending the video of the attack to Catherine Mulligan, they pretty much reached their goal and their operation was a success. So, explain your thoughts about this operation here, where they try to keep the family here and not go to Miami.
Like like I said before, it's really selfish of Lincoln to, keep his family in the house. At the same time, I understand, like, you can understand why he would do this, but at the same time, though, it's like, really, Lincoln, why would you, do that? That's so season one Lincoln of you. That's so season one
No,
of you. You know what I mean?
No, I was saying like this whole entire operation that Lincoln was doing was, I would say, really out of character to say. I mean, maybe not. I mean, stealing a mannequin out of Lenny's hands to pretty much stage a Miami Beach where a Sharkadile, where they controlled it, by the way, is pretty much attacking Tanya.
It's like,
Yeah.
Tanya! Lincoln stole Tanya! Lincoln stole Tanya!
And speaking of which, Lenny pulled off a really great scream in that move right there. Tanya! She like literally lost her best friend.
Yeah, Dora Dolphin is one of the very best performances of the Loud House live action Christmas movie. Like, Dora Dolphin really pulls it off as like.
I gotta say this though, with the video that that Clyde sent to Catherine Mulligan, that was a lot of good editing to say the least. It looked like a real attack. Even if they were like behind, even if they were inside that Sharkadile pedaling and biting Tanya, kind of feels like real life like action scenes happening there.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
yeah, like, it looked really convincing. Like Lincoln and Clyde do a good job of making the video look very convincing. Like, up to a point where even experts and Captain Mulligan herself really buy into it.
Yeah. So like I said, my thoughts on this operation, I feels like they really did pull off a good one. First off, were you surprised that Rip Hardcore was here in this movie? Like, we never heard of Rip Hardcore, I think, since season 3 or something like that.
Yeah, when I heard that we were getting a Loud House live action Christmas movie, I honestly didn't think that Rip Hardcore would play a role in this. Like, we didn't really expect Rip Hardcore to be in this, but well, there he is now. And let me tell you, like, he's actually really memorable in this movie.
I'm guessing the fact that it's nature-like you have a freaking Sharkadile, kind of makes sense to actually pull somebody who was actually out of nature to talk about this Sharkadile. So it makes sense to have Rip Hardcore. I wouldn't imagine like A Savvy or David Steele to actually know about this Sharkadile business.
Yeah, no, Rip Hardcore is the perfect character for this kind of situation.
Mr. Wilderness himself. I love the fact that like he goes out and says like, "Here's my book. I was just here signing my book until I heard about the Sharkadile." And then he gives all these tips, and he even wrestled one of like Captain Mulligan's cameramen to the ground. I'm like, okay, you are cool. Oh, and speaking of which, during that scene, what the hell? Rita is totally into hot guys for some reason.
Yeah, Rita was totally sipping over Rip Hardcore, and then that's when Lynn Sr. got a bit jealous and so
she literally was like, "Oh, thank you, Santa." And then like Lynn Sr.'s like, "Santa, I'll do better than that," or something like that.
Like, I like how we got to see jealous Lynn Sr. Like, that jealous Lynn Sr. because it does show how he really does care for Rita, tries to prove himself to Rita, and when he sees Rita fawning over Rip Hardcore, or seeing Rita thank Santa. Like we see Lynn Sr. feel legitimately threatened.
Yeah. I understand like Lynn Senior's like, insecurity a little bit there because he knows like, oh, just because Rita likes hot guys doesn't mean I have to be hot or something. That was just so weird because like Rita, I didn't know you were into those kind of guys. Oh, okay. You're still young at heart to say.
Yes. Yes, like oh man, Rita as a simp is so funny to watch. Like simp Rita is hilarious.
Okay, so here's the thing. Catherine Mulligan, obviously Catherine Tabers, who also does the voice of Catherine Mulligan and also the voice of Laurie. She's in this movie. How do you like her performance as how do you like Catherine Tabers' performance as Catherine Mulligan here?
Yeah, I really do like how Catherine Tabor really did pull off Catherine Mulligan. Just like how she captures the voiceover performance as Laurie in the Loud House live action series. She really does have so much fun, as much fun with the role of live action Catherine Mulligan. Like we do, like see her really nail the role. Although I gotta be honest, it would have been really cool. It would have been a nice little Easter egg if Catherine Mulligan had said the word literally at some point in the live action film
Well, then
as
again,
Catherine Mulligan.
here's
Like
the thing,
this,
like
I'm literally Catherine Mulligan.
Well, the thing is that this is Catherine Mulligan. She doesn't say literally. She literally just has that little high tone of voice. It's like, I'm Catherine Mulligan. I'm Catherine Mulligan. Actually, you don't hear that too with this Catherine Mulligan, by the way. Remember? She would always say,
Yeah,
I'm Catherine Mulligan. Whoever, what's her name? They always keep on saying, like, who's this person? But yeah,
I'm just saying, like, as an Easter egg, like because it's Catherine Tabor, I'm just saying, like, it would have been really nice if she had, said the word literally, like, I'm literally
mhm.
Catherine Mulligan. That would have been a nice cover because same actress.
Right. I mean, still, it's cool to actually see her. By the way, I'm gonna say this out right now. I think she is the best performer out of the whole movie because it feels like
Oh
she
yeah,
pulled off Catherine Mulligan really well. And
yeah.
FYI, she definitely
She's
was
definitely
important
up
in this
there.
movie. She definitely was important in this movie, which you never expect because
Yeah,
she's a secondary character.
yeah. Honestly, like, it really does say something where Catherine Mulligan like is a much more significant character live action than animated. Like live action Catherine Mulligan ends up being a better character than her animated
Yeah,
counterpart.
I
It's
know.
really rare. It's really
Which is
rare.
weird.
It's actually really rare. It's really rare.
This makes me like Catherine Mulligan here a whole lot more than Catherine Mulligan back in the animated series. Then again, she only popped up for like maybe like 1 minute per episode. Here, she actually
Yeah.
literally had like 30 minutes of airtime, and she did a really good job with it.
And even if she wasn't played by Catherine Tabor, I would still stand by that statement that live action Catherine Mulligan like is better than animated Catherine Mulligan, which is really rare because most of the animated counterparts are written better than the live action ones, especially the main man with the plan himself.
That's true. But still, though, I like Wolfgang. I still like Wolfgang as Lincoln.
Performance wise, Wolfgang does an excellent job as Lincoln. But in terms of how live action Lincoln is written, that's where it gets really problematic.
Especially what we've been talking about right now.
Yes. Again, you do not ever mess with Saluna. You just don't do that. That is zero tolerance. That is crossing the line right there.
All right. Nonetheless, though, Lincoln and Clyde did end up succeeding with their Operation Very Long Name. That needs to be a shorter name for Lincoln to actually rephrase it to. So let's talk about what happened after that, because it seems that Lincoln got his wish and that everybody would be at the Loud House for Christmas, but not everyone was okay with that. Unfortunately, all the Louds were mostly upset about it. Lola will
You
not be a part
think?
of Lola will not be a part of a pageant. Lynn would not see the Miami Dolphins, which, by the way, I thought NFL would actually take that down. But Sam would break up with Luna. Oh boy, that was a big hard one.
No! No! Why? Why? Saluna break up? Why? Oh God! Oh God! Ah, my heart! My heart!
I think Sam knew Luna was a bit. I mean, she should do something better than Luna. This movie, Luna was so
Again, live action Lincoln. If I get you, like your scrawny little neck, I'm gonna. You little.
All right, Homer Simpson. Lenny would be fired from her job. Lana would see Hops depressed. Lori would be stuck on a road with Bobby since they ran out of gas. I mean, even the parents were disappointed because they really wanted to go to Miami. So yeah, Lincoln did make a huge boo boo, and now he needs to fix everything up again. Omid, where have we?
Major boo boo.
Omid, where have we seen this before? What were your thoughts on this moment here?
Okay, I'm confused. Is this taking place during season 5 or during season 1? Because to me, the way the plot is going, it totally feels like a season 1 movie. It totally feels like it. It feels like Lincoln Loud's character is going backwards instead of forwards. This kind of plot has happened numerous times before. And because this has happened before, it makes the movie feel so predictable. It makes this movie feel so by the numbers. It makes it feel so lather, rinse, repeat. And let me just say, as someone who has been looking forward to the live action Loud House Christmas movie somewhat recently, I feel like, you know, this live action Christmas movie like had the potential to be much better than that, like story wise, like okay, production wise, character design wise, and you know, all this stuff, that's all good stuff. But it's just I wish that the plot, the story of the Loud House live action movie was as strong as the aesthetics of the Loud House live action movie.
It's so weird because it's like, wow, we're going back to the old times where, like, you know, Lincoln did some boo boo stuff. Now Lincoln has to go on and fix everything. It just feels just like season 1 again. I'm like, oh, we're really going that route? I thought season 5 actually had a better Lincoln Loud, but no, we're going through this.
Yeah, we're witnessing Virgin Lincoln when we should be watching Chad Lincoln. Okay,
exactly. I don't know.
This is the season 5 timeline. Where's Chad Lincoln? Damn it, Chad Lincoln is nowhere to be seen.
It feels like we just went, yeah, like what Omid said. It feels like we just felt backward, just saying like, oh yeah, Lori's in college, and you know everybody's, you know, Luna's with Sam and all that junk, but we still have the selfish Lincoln that we're seeing here. I'm guessing Lincoln never grew up, which is wrong.
I mean, according to the live action version, apparently.
I don't know. I feel like the movie kind of felt out of place, especially when this part happened. So how crazy do you think things got, especially for a few Louds like Luna and Lenny?
Again, Lincoln, what you did to Saluna, unforgivable. Just straight up unforgivable. Just how dare you? Just screw you for that. Second off, not only do I feel bad for Luna, especially when she sings that song, like, oh my god, I just wanted to give Sam a huge hug.
Freaking scene. Oh my god. Like, literally, Luna, you can totally see Luna heartbroken. The fact that Sam broke up with Luna. It's like, Sam broke up with me because I was going to hang out with more than Luna.
Luna, come here so I can give you a big hug. I just want to give Luna the biggest hug. I'm just like, and how dare you do that to my girl? Just how dare you, Pat? Honestly, like I said, this is even worse than the Sharkadile catastrophe.
You know what's weird? Yeah, you know what's weird
I'm
though?
going that far.
Lincoln kind of said like that wasn't supposed to happen. I'm like, Lincoln, do you know about love? I thought you know more about like this love sort of thing. Apparently you don't, because yeah, it was not supposed to happen. Sure, it wasn't supposed to happen, but you don't know about what's going on in relationships and stuff.
Aren't you called man with a plan for a reason, Lincoln? You're called man with the plan because you think things through. And now, like, you're sort of thinking, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. It's like, what the hell did you think was going to happen, Lincoln? What did you think was going to happen?
Oh my god.
Man with a plan, my ass. Man with a plan, my ass.
This is a bad Lincoln to say. Okay, we get it now. So there are other things that also came out from this moment in the movie. Lisa
Lenny.
trying to
Let's
take care
about Lenny.
Okay, yeah, talk about Lenny.
Yet. I feel bad for Lenny also, especially when she cried out, like much similar to how Luna was crying because of Sam. Lenny was crying because of Tanya and how she got fired again. Nice touch of continuity from Crimes of Fashion.
Right, and you know the firing just felt so bad too. Just because she lost Tanya, maybe she could have been more responsible by not looking for her. I felt like literally like when Tanya was missing, she started going around like riding hers in the whole mall trying to find Tanya, to no avail, and then ended up firing her. So Lincoln did a make a boo boo too on that one as well. Um,
Again, man with a plan, right?
yeah, dude, I felt, dude, Luanne, by the way, when she got fired, she also cried a bit. Also, Mr. Coconuts being like the comedic Mr. Coconuts that he is. What about me? It's not about you, Mr. Coconuts. That
I'm
part
not
got
gonna
me.
lie.
That part got
That
me.
that part got a laugh out of me. No lie. In an otherwise sad scene, like it's good to have lighten the mood up a little with Mr. Coconut. So very nice touch on that.
Yeah, and
I
she,
did
like I
feel bad for
said,
Luann though.
and just like I said, Luanne actually does a really good Mr. Coconuts, and also does her own Luanne voice as well. She like the acting was definitely perfect there. Even if she was depressed, she even also got angry. You get to see her angry voice over Mr. Coconuts. So
It's
yeah,
not about you, Mr. Coconuts.
yeah, that was it. um, there was also that one part where Lisa, what was it, had this like concoction where they could actually take care of the shocker dial, but instead kind of ruined humans. I mean, you put the spray onto Lynn Senior, look what happened to him. That part I think was actually pretty funny. It looks like he was drugged.
Yeah, yeah.
Brr, brr,
Drunk,
brr.
drunken
Brr, brr,
senior.
boop, 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 boop. Oh, brr, 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 boops. Oh, brr, 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 brr. That
Like
part I think got
it's
me. That really got me.
it's like a combination of getting high, getting drunk, but worse than the combination of the two.
They literally have like things disabled. Like you'll have your eye lowered. You had like your hands not working at all. You're literally falling down. And I love the fact that like Lynn Senior was the victim of that. So, and by the way, like Lynn Senior was definitely like on top when it's comedy. He definitely did a really
Definitely.
good job acting on that.
Yeah, it's very well delivered by Brian Stepanik's performance. Another stand-up performance in the live-action movie because it really does show how one actor can really pull off not just the animated version of the character, but just his voice, but also his physical appearance and his body language as well with the live-action counterpart.
Exactly, and still, wow, Lynn Senior doing a pretty top-notch job on that. One more thing that I also kind of felt weird about it too. Do you remember when Lori had to call Rita just because it's like, "Hi, mom, I was supposed to surprise you to go over to the Loud House, but we're stuck. Can you pick us up?" And then we're gonna pick him up. I love the fact that Bobby said, "I love your mom." I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" That's so weird.
to
I
be
mean,
fair, like Rita.
although I gotta say this, yeah, when Bobby says "I love your mom," that's most of the fandom here.
To be fair, Rita does. There is like a striking resemblance between Rita and Lori. To be fair on that.
Yeah, I get that, but I felt that weird. I'm like, Bobby, you're into Rita for some reason. We're not getting to that territory, okay? We're gonna be canceled if we went there.
Yeah, no, we're keeping it family friendly. We're keeping it, Christmas
No,
friendly.
but
With come
oh
on.
yeah, but we said simp, by the way. So you got
Yeah,
canceled. Thanks, Omid.
right. Plead
um,
the
and
fifth.
anything else you want to bring up from this moment here?
Yes. Now there's this one moment where when Rita does arrive to pick up Lori and Bobby, Bobby was like, "Oh, I gotta make these deliveries, otherwise Rosa will get mad." And then we see that Bobby had food the entire time, and Lori's like, "You had food this entire time." It's like,
That's typical
oh man,
Bobby. Bobby doesn't know better.
yeah, like Bobby's sort of a male Lenny in a sense, where while he has a big heart, let me tell you, when it comes to the brains, let me tell you,
No, he's not the
he
smartest.
ain't he ain't
He is not
exactly
the
the brightest
smartest
bulb.
fellow. No,
He's not the brightest bulb. Let me just
he's
say.
not the smartest fellow. It just makes Bobby a whole lot funnier to say. What else can I put up from that whole scene there? Well, not really much to say. I think I got everything down. Um, anyways, oh no, I love the fact that like, oh, okay, so maybe the saddest part in this movie was the fact that like Lily cannot light up the tree, and that made a sad Lily, and that made Lincoln change his mind, and like obviously try to turn the tide to make him feel guilty to say. How do you feel about that part where like Lily's like, tree, I can't light the tree or something? Because they put the town
Like
on lockdown to say.
I will say this, like this is what I heavily admire, and possibly like the best thing to come out of Lincoln's character, other than the ending, like the speech that he gives.
Hmm.
I do like how like after Lily cries out tree, and then that is the turning point for Lincoln. That's when
Mhm.
Lincoln, you see Lincoln's expression, like the guy literally feels remorse. You could tell by the eyes, he feels legit like tears when he sees Lily sad, because what I like is that it shows the deep bond between Lincoln and Lily. Not only that, but it also contributes to my head canon in that out of all the Loud sisters, the one Loud sister that Lincoln has the best bond with, shares the deepest bond with, is Lily. Like honestly, while Lincoln says he doesn't have a favorite sister, I have a feeling deep down that if Lincoln were to choose his favorite sister, it would definitely be Lily, because Lily is the sister that Lincoln has the least amount of conflict with. It's the sister that that Lincoln has the more significant moments with, especially in the animated Loud House movie.
Right, exactly, because you get to see more of that with Lily and Lincoln bonding, especially in that movie. To say, um, I love the fact that, like, for example, like, yeah, we don't get to see Lily light up the tree. The town is on lockdown. You get to see Lily all sad. So that pretty much was Lincoln's turning point to pretty much like to pretty much fix everything. I love the fact that like what the Catherine Mulligan was pretty much speaking throughout the whole entire thing. If you find the if you find the Sharkadile, make sure you call in our hotline 555. Oh no, and I'm like, really?
Like I would imagine like some of the fandom
They're really
actually
putting
dialing
comedy.
that
They're
number.
really putting a lot of comedy in this, by the way. They really are.
Five five
and
five. Oh no.
and then also Scoots, by the way. Like we get to see Scoots over Sunset Canyon, but I didn't know that Scoots was also the witness of a Sharkadile passing through. So, oh, I didn't know Scoots was actually really important as well, and she actually pulled off Scoots pretty well. I was
Yeah,
in
she
I
did.
was in the woods, then I found the Sharkadile. I filmed with my camera. Okay. To say the least, that whole scene was like funny, sad. At the same time, you mostly just gonna feel the sadness in that. So, with all of that in mind, Lincoln would have to obviously fix it all up. So now Lincoln and Clyde would have to lure the Sharkadile that they made up and bring it to Royal Woods Mall, so that Lincoln can prove that the creature was fake in front of the whole entire Royal Woods town. Rita came with a huge chase scene with them in Rip Hardcore. Rita, I'm sorry, this came with a huge chase scene with them in Rip Hardcore. Rita having to chase the Sharkadile for stealing her Christmas decorations. Lynn Sr. in the days after being hit by one of Lisa's experiments, and that the entire family needed to be there to make sure Lisa is fine. Overall, it led to them all meeting up at Royal Woods Mall. So, Omid, explain your overall thoughts from this couple scenes here.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. The chase scene itself is very well executed. Like the chase scene itself really does capture that Loud House spirit, because usually how Loud House episode climaxes go, they usually end up being some sort of chase scene or some wacky comedic moment, wacky comedic scene, and I feel that like the chase scene really does capture that Loud House feel. Um, especially when it's pulled off really well, especially when they pull off that over the topness. Um, and it's pretty much one of those things where it's translated really well from animated to live action. So I really do like mad props to the chase scene um, for that, and also I do love like Lisa. Like oh my god, like if there's one you know character consistency that worked very well in this movie, the best, it's definitely Lisa. Like oh my gosh, like whereas Lincoln went backwards with this character, Lisa went forward. Like we still see season 5 Lisa being awesome and being badass that she is, like she decides to go and chase after the Sharkadile herself. But that was pretty awesome to see. And I do love how the rest of the Loud sisters show concern for her and decide to go after her to save her, because like it really does capture that moment, really does capture the Loud family bond, the Loud family spirit as in the animated series.
Exactly. And still, I love the fact that, like, they're still trying to team up for each other. I love the fact that, like, even the Loud family, that, Lisa is going to be all crazy when it comes to her experiments and stuff. Knowing that the Sharkadile is over at the Royal Woods Mall, she immediately just goes out and says, I'm going to go fight that Sharkadile. I'm like, wait a minute, how about your sisters? And I love the fact the sisters actually, like, teamed up together to save Lisa. Literally, they literally put their hands together to save Lisa. But of course,
Even
their
Mr.
dad is also.
Coconuts, Mr. Coconuts put his hand too. It's like Mr. Coconut's supposed to save Lisa as well. So Mr. Coconuts
Yeah.
is part of the family.
I love the fact that Lynn Senior was still in a daze, that he was even cooking around the kitchen, and then obviously turned out to be a huge mess.
Oh man, like
I love.
that turned out to be a disaster.
I know. But then again, he was just, like I said, over with whatever the thing that Lisa had in at that concoction. So yeah, Lynn Senior would obviously drive. I don't know if it was drive the girls, but nonetheless, they all did arrive over at Royal Woods Mall. They didn't explain that, by the way. Did it just walk over there? Because it felt like they walked over there. Because I remember Rita was the one driving Vanzilla, so something tells me they just like was able to walk over there. Royal Woods Mall is
I
fairly
guess,
close.
or maybe they took the bus or some sort of ride share. I want to believe that because honestly, even if it is for Lisa, like honestly, I would doubt that they would actually walk all the way or run all the way because let me remind you, it is freezing cold out there. Like you even saw Bobby and Lori like freezing their asses off when they drove all the way to Royal Woods.
Mhm.
Like if that had been the case with the Loud family walking all the way to Royal Woods Mall, even if it's for Lisa's sake, we would have seen them like freezing their asses off as well. Like we would have seen like sort of like the frozen
Mhm.
icicles in their faces.
Yeah, just what happened to Lori and Bobby to say.
Yeah, they have frozen
Uh,
icicles as well. Yeah.
So one thing I also want to bring up from this scene is the fact that what was it? Going through the mall with that Sharkadile, so they pretty much like went through and ruined everything. The whole chase scene was also weird considering like you also have so many camera angles. Like you have in front of the Sharkadile and you have in front of Rip Hardcore. You totally have a green screen of Rip Hardcore literally driving in the back and going through the forest to say. And you also have a camera right on top of that little driving little scooter that I forgot the little cart that Mr. was it Rip Hardcore had. So they literally went through a lot of those camera angles to actually get the perfect shot. To say the least, the chase scene looked great. Some of the angles that I see is kind of like maybe we could have actually done that a little bit better.
Yeah, like I think that's exactly what like. I will say this: like these special effects and the camera angles aren't the best in the movie.
Mhm.
Most are serviceable, but there are some parts where it's like, yeah, they could have been done better.
Yeah, we'll explain more about that later as we wrap up our review here. But here we go. Look, all of the Louds are pretty much all together, which means that Lincoln would have to obviously confess and give a huge apology. So with all the mayhem pretty much done, Lincoln would reveal himself to be the Sharkadile to everyone's surprise, which is interesting because everyone's saying like Lincoln, Lincoln, Lincoln. He would apologize to his family for messing everything up, and to no surprise, his parents would forgive him. And at the end, the family would be reunited. Best of all, Lily did end up lighting the Christmas tree, and Luna would perform for the Royal Woods community. Omid, we got to talk about how this Lincoln Loud. Wait, we got to talk about this now because it really does boil down to your Lincoln Loud formula. Can you explain to our Loud House audience about this and how this was applied in the movie?
I never thought that I would have to use those words when describing the story of the Loud House live action movie. Hell, I didn't want to utter those words when I would talk about this movie, but well, here we are. You know, we got the typical season one Lincoln Loud formula, not Lincoln Loud formula, season one Lincoln Loud formula, may I add, where Lincoln does something wrong. Well, of course, it follows the same beat by beat, note by note. Like I said, Lincoln comes up with a plan, selfish plan. Lincoln messes up. Lincoln sees, the outcome of it. Lincoln feels bad. Lincoln tries to solve it. Lincoln confesses, all's well that ends well. It follows the exact same note, beat by beat. And this is a major problem because this is supposed to be a movie. This is not a typical episode. This is a movie, a legit live action Loud House live action movie. So honestly, I wish they had done something much better with Lincoln's character. I wish that they had come up with a much stronger plot. But, you know, seeing what we've seen here, I will say the apology here is really nice.
Here's the
Like, I do like how Lincoln does apologize and own up to his mistakes, because an admirable part about Lincoln's character is that, like, he does admit and own up to his mistakes most of the time. However, I'm going to say this though, the part where he says that he's afraid of growing up, that's why he's doing this. While it is nice, honestly, I have to ask, why did we've known about this now? Whereas in the beginning, it was all, oh, it was, but what about tradition and all that? I'm just like, I
Mhm.
feel like that lesson about, like his fear of growing up, like where did it come from? It just came out of nowhere right here, because in the beginning of the film, nowhere does it mention that, oh, Lincoln Lau is afraid of growing up, that's why he's doing this. It's only mentioned here. And I'm saying, if it's if we had known that, if Lincoln just told us straight up that, oh, since we're all growing up, I like to keep the tradition straight, like, okay, like, I totally get that. But this whole heartwarming moment of Lincoln's fear of growing up, it was just brought up at the ending, and it wasn't brought up before.
I felt like when we talked about this Lick Loud formula all throughout the Loud Casa talks, everything was pretty much on point. Like, oh, Lincoln did something to mess up. It was Lincoln did something selfish. Lincoln did mess up everything around the family, so he started to do something to, fix it. And then he'll have to apologize at the end. So literally, what you said about the Lick Loud formula is pretty much there. So I literally have to explain this to you, and I'm like, "Oh, me, you're right." What the hell? didn't we
It's
agree?
or
Didn't we agree on it? Like even at our preview show that this could be something like Liquid Loud formula, like you've been talking about.
that actually, it was one of our followers. Like, we read his tweet on Twitter where he says, "Oh, I hope it doesn't fall into the Liquid Love Film." I'm just like, well, buddy, I got some bad news for you, my dude. I got some bad news for you, because it turns out it actually does go that route. And that's a problem, because, like I said, if there was just a regular run of the mill, Loud House episode, especially pre season 5, that would have been somewhat passable. It would have been fine.
Mhm.
But for a live action Christmas movie, especially when it's season 5, when it's the season 5 Lincoln that is much better than, what he was represented here. Let me tell you, like, that was the part that really disappointed me about the movie.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think we all agreed on that too, because it's like, wow, you can't believe we actually pulled this formula out of this. I thought we were done with it, but no, we were actually brought back to this, especially in the movie here. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and honestly, if they had focused on the aspect, like if they had focused on the Lincoln Loud, like, fearful of growing up, if they had focused on that aspect of Lincoln's character throughout the movie, and not just him saying so, like at the end of the movie when he was confronted, let me tell you, even that would have made for a stronger Lincoln Loud story.
Hmm. How did you like the resolution overall, where Lincoln apologized, the family forgives him, and then they ended up having a party at the end?
I'm gonna say this right now. The song really is amazing, especially with Luna singing it "Together Forever" and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But then comes afterwards, where they all gather around for, the Christmas,
That's
Christmas and all that stuff.
that's our next scene. But I just want to see about this whole entire scene here, where he apologizes and all is forgiven to say.
Um, I will say this: I do like how Rita and Lynn Senior respond to it. They respond that they do understand why he did what he did. Like they're still upset with Lincoln with what he did. Like, I like how the Loud family reacts to it. Like
Mhm.
you know, they don't completely condone his actions, nor do they completely, villainize him for it. Like, which honestly, they would have been justified if they had went that route. But, like, they have mixed feelings about it. Like, for the most, they were mostly understanding and forgiving towards Lincoln. But then there's that part of them, like, you could tell that there's this part of them that where they're still pretty mad with Lincoln, but they still just decide to forgive him all the same.
I mean,
Because, yeah,
I mean, there's that part there where the sister's also angry at him. It's like, why, little bro? Why would you do this to a family? Then they also said like, oh wait, is Tanya okay? Thank Lenny. And then for Luann too, it's like, you made me ruin my comedy performance to say. It's like, oh god, you did make them sad, like kid. You gotta give them a good reasoning about this. And
The
yeah, the
part where
reasoning
Luna
is
says, why would you do that, little bro? It's like, I felt it. I felt that.
yeah, the thing that he says is like, yeah, I want to have my family tradition, which is, okay. Still, I mean, having Rita and Senior pretty much say like, there's always traditions and things like that. We understand why you did this, etc., etc. I think it's just the fact that like I understand Lincoln doesn't want to change when it comes to like Christmas tradition, things like that. But there's always going to be change nonetheless, and that's what Lincoln needs to learn. And hence, that's what happened in the resolution part here. And I thought the resolution was okay, but still not the best to say. I don't know. How would you say? Would it be okay to be forgiven like this?
Yeah, I will say this right now. Like, I will say that like Lincoln's actions, the lab like Lincoln's actions, while understandable, they were really too extreme. Because when you do think about it, he spread fear amongst the public, like
Hmm.
with the Sharkadile. He spread fear amongst the public with the Sharkadile. Like, he cost Lenny her job. He cost the whole family the entire trip, and worst of all, and I mean the worst atrocity committed, he broke up Saluna. Like those are some major crimes right there.
Here's
And
the thing.
honestly,
Here's the thing.
I
Where's
felt
the
that.
if we had this? Where's the mayor out of all of this? Where's Mayor Davis for out of all people? They could have actually brought her in and then punished Lincoln there. That would be worse,
Exactly.
actually.
But it would have been suitable for Lincoln's actions. Like, the punishment's got to fit the crime. And honestly, while I felt that the song and how they got together forever was sweet, it was a bit too abrupt. Like for all the things that Lincoln did, I felt that there should have been much more room to breathe before we got to the happily ever after
Hmm.
sing along scene.
It was really happy.
You
It
know what I
was really
mean?
happy. It was really like a happily ever after. Because the thing is that literally after like all was forgiven, Catherine Mulligan comes in and says like, "Who wants to light a tree?" Lily obviously lights the tree up, and then the party begins with Luna starts rocking the house over at the Royalwoods Mall. But yeah,
Yes. Yes. My girl Luna singing that song.
so
Like, got up and saying,
so
singing the song. What's up?
So yeah, everything it looks like all is forgiven. Now we gotta go head over to Christmas Day in the Loud House because it seems that all of them are all excited together, all in Christmas. Best of all, everyone's back on their plans. Where Lori would go back to college, Luna and Sam would still have their ski date, and the
Yes.
rest
They're back together.
and the and the rest of the family are gonna go to Miami. Best of all, Lincoln's wish also came true, where his 13-man sled would have been fixed by the family, and with the snow that Lisa made, they would end up having a memorable Christmas. Really, really forgivable ending, don't you think?
Yes. Now, I will say this though. Like, at least there is some sort of punishment for Lincoln. At least he has to do 300 hours of community service. Because let me tell you, if he had gotten off scot-free, it would have pissed me the hell off, and I would have given this a much lower rating. But I'm glad that there is some sort of punishment that he gets. 300 hours of community service. I do wish that, onto the subject of how I think like the movie could have been expanded, could have been extended, I feel that we could have seen Lincoln Loud himself actually doing the community service.
Yeah, but that would be like more of extra scenes to actually add into like the credits, for example.
Like, we want to see Lincoln pay for his crimes. Like,
Still, I mean, I still the mention of 300 hours already just tells you like, yeah, he's got punished. That's good. I'm pretty sure the cops pretty much like told him, "Hey, you're going downtown. Look what you did to the whole town. You scared everybody. We'll give you a sense of 300 hours of community service." Do you think it was enough? By the way,
um, yeah, I feel like 300 hours of community service is more than enough for Lincoln you know to be a punishment for him. But
so
I
I
just
feel
wish that we could have seen what the community service was actually
yeah.
was.
So I feel like at the end, like once Christmas is over, then Lincoln would start his 300 hours of community service. Ooh.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it for the movie. Anything else you want to bring up from the movie?
um Yes, I will definitely say about the end credits. I do love the end credits.
Oh
We're gonna touch
yeah.
upon that.
Oh yeah, for sure, for
Like
sure.
the end credits were honestly like that's also one of the best end credits I've ever seen because it's pretty much you got Lincoln on one side next to the animated counterpart, like, and also Clyde, live action Clyde with animated Clyde.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I love
yeah.
how they show pictures of
I
that.
mean, like, I love the comparisons too, where they actually tell you, like, this is Wolfgang who did Lincoln Loud, who, cartoon Lincoln Loud. And you also get to see, like, everybody else too. Catherine Tabers, who did Catherine Mulligan. You can see Brian Stepanek, who did Lady Senior. And you can totally see the resemblance. Like, they actually did a pretty good job when it comes to, like, reenacting the role of the Loud characters in live action.
Definitely,
So they did a
definitely.
great job with that. So yeah, the end credits were great. Awesome job to actually point out the fact that like each character actually is each character, and they did a good job with it. So that's good. Um, I got nothing else to bring up for the movie, so let's actually head over to our other thoughts in the movie. One thing I want to bring up is the damn editing in the movie. I mean, seriously, the CGI was, how would you say, subpar? Definitely not really the best out there, because you could totally see it. Like when they went down the hill in that last scene where they were like all the 13-man sled, you could totally see it's all green screen. They're not literally going downhill, and plus the animation of that was totally bad. Um, uh, for example, another example would be like over at Sunset Canyon, where there's that one scene where was it where
The
Scoot
pie got
got,
thrown in Hop Pop's face,
yeah,
right?
the pie got thrown in a hot pop space. That's totally animated. And by the way, like you can totally see it animated, considering that the screen actually changed color, and then the pie animation pops up, and then when it goes into the real scene, you get to see the pie tin, and it literally had Luanne's logo on it, while in the animation it didn't have it at all. So it kind of tells you like, yeah, mistake there, Nickelodeon. And also
Yeah.
the animation where the pudding came out of Scoot, like came out to Scoot. So like, she was pouring the pudding, and then like a whole bunch of pudding came onto her face to say. That's also CGI, by the way. That's also animated. I also looked through that and I was like, that can't be possible. That you can actually wipe up all that. And then where the heck is it's mostly all white cream, but then you also see yellow vanilla pudding stains as well. It's like, how did that pop up? And that, yeah, it just tells you that the animation kind of sucks. Editing kind of was but that's like one big complaint for me when it comes to the movie. Like, if you could have actually done a little bit better, I understand this is a budget film. It's not like one of those big Hollywood films, but there could have been more time for you to actually do it so much better that you can actually, make it more convincing. I just saw through the whole Sunset Canyon scene and I was like, this is grueling. This is not right. The animation's terrible.
Yeah,
um,
even with a limited budget, there's still no excuse for how poorly the CGI can be handled at times.
Right, right, right. Still, though, I mean, they could have actually at least, did some fixes to actually make it like more legit. How about you? Did you think about like, other things that kind of like irked you when you were watching the film?
Well, other than how Lincoln's character was handled, and other than the CGI you pointed out, and also that huge continuity error when it comes to Sam's character, especially too. Honestly, other than that, I didn't see anything that offensive about it. Like I said before, this is when it comes to live action adaptations of animated properties. This is definitely one of the better ones. Also, because of the fact that when it comes to its flaws, it's not nearly as offensive as the other live action adaptations of anime properties. Like, trust me, when it comes to those, I've seen like far worse.
Yeah.
But in terms of this, like there are some things that definitely could have been done, especially with Lincoln's character arc in the live action movie.
Mm. To say the least, the story could have been better, but maybe other things could have also been better too. But then again, like I said, this is a budget film. This is not Hollywood that we're talking about. But the one thing that I really do like is the acting. Everybody did a really good job. Even like Clyde's dad's. Was it Catherine Mulligan? You even have Nana Gale, who was there only for like a minute or two, and she did a pretty good job being Nana Gale. Even Scoots, by the way, she turned out to be a really good performer. Literally rooting for the Shocker Doll too, which I thought was crazy. Go Shocker
Yes.
Doll! I think like when it comes to the acting, everybody did really well, most especially the Louds. Do
Yes.
you agree with me, Omi? The Louds did a really good job with the acting.
Yes, definitely. Like for small named actors, let me tell you, they gave it their all. The ones that really stood out to me the most, honestly, were Sophia Woodward as Luna, of course. No
Hmm.
bias here, but she pulls off my favorite character very well. In terms of both acting and singing. Dora Dolphin is adorable as Lenny. Like, let me tell you, Dora Dolphin embodies the character of Lenny Loud, like inside and out. Also, Lexi pulls off a really good Lisa, especially when like she pulls off, Chad Lisa, season 5
Hmm.
Lisa, where she goes, especially when she goes to hunt for the Sharkadon.
I
This is
wonder.
really fun to
I wonder.
watch.
Look, I wonder how Lexi Jadisek, she actually had the list. She literally had the list that Lisa has, which is like on par. Like she actually had the list, but it looked really legit like Lisa to say.
Yeah, and she doesn't normally have the lisp, but let me tell you, she pulls out the lisp as if she really does have it. And let me just say that is perfect character authenticity. So major props to Lexi for pulling that off. And of course, Brian Stepanek pulls off live action Lin Loud as well as he pulls off animated Lin Loud
I think
Senior.
here's what I said. Everybody did a really good job, but here's the thing that I kind of want to point out here. There should have been more airtime for certain characters, like Lana, for example, or Lori, or um, Lynn. Also,
Luna and Sam going on a
I
skiing
think
trip.
Luna. No, I think
Hello.
Luna had enough. I think Luna had a lot. Luanne also had a lot. I mean, she had her own role too. Lenny definitely did a lot of parts in this movie. And like I said, Lauren didn't have much time. Lynn never had much time, by the way. All she did was tackle Lincoln to the ground. And then you get to see Lana, who was pretty much with Hobbs most of the time. So it just tells me like there are some character. Lucy also too. Like yeah, she just pops out of nowhere and just goes like darkness and stuff like that. Maybe they could have had more airtime, while the other sisters and Lincoln and Clyde, have their airtime already.
That's the problem. It sort of contributes to one of the main problems I have for the movie is that those problems contribute to the fact that the Loud House live action Christmas movie was too short. Similar to how the Loud House animated movie, like even I felt that was too short. But let me tell you, like the Loud House animated movie, like even that had a much more appropriate length time in terms of how a movie should be than this. Like even the Loud House animated movie was longer than this one.
I mean, you would agree with me here, though. Everybody did a really good job acting. Like this is the perfect cast if you're gonna do a like live action Loud House movie.
Yes, definitely. And it makes me think that there is so much potential. Like they have the potential to make more live action Loud House movies, but I just hope that they put much more like passion and quality, as much of passion and quality into the story as they do with the aesthetics.
Hmm. Most definitely. Now, here's the other thing too. Do you think this movie definitely made a well? Yeah. Did you think it actually did make a good live action adaptation to the Loud House?
Um, Yes, for a live action adaptation of an animated property, let me tell you, like this was definitely one of the good ones, and for good reason. Is that like I could see the passion, I could see the spirit of the Loud House into it. Like I could see that they poured their hearts out, that they had so much fun with it. Both the cast and the crew had so much fun with it. You could tell that like they really do love, working with each other. They really do, the cast especially feel like such a big family, and honestly for that you can't really hate the movie as a whole, mainly because of how much love it's that the cast
That
and
they
crew put into this
that they
movie.
pour out into for this movie.
Definitely, like it, you could tell that they didn't just put this in, like this wasn't made for the sole purpose of a cash grab. No, this was made to capture the spirit of the Loud House in live action form.
Most definitely. And the other thing too is that, I feel like for all of these actors and actresses, they definitely do love to work together. Like you can totally see it in their Instagram and their social medias on Twitter and everything. Like look at their videos, look at the pictures. They look like a legit family, even if they're just actors and actresses, like for a role in the Loud House. They felt like they literally are a family together. Like if you see their premiere in Atlanta, all those pictures just shows you like they really do love each other. And it'd be great if they actually did team up again for another movie to say, because it feels
Yeah,
like this is a perfect like set. This is a perfect cast to say.
yeah, and that's what I mean. And because of that reason, like I said, I actually want to see much more live action Loud House movies in general. Like we already got a Christmas one, but let's have more Loud House movies in which it focuses on um their other holidays, like a Fourth of July Loud House live action movie, a Thanksgiving Loud House live action movie, an Easter Loud House live action movie, a Valentine's Day Loud House live action movie. Wink, wink, Ronikin fans. If you're listening to this, notice I said Valentine's Day. Wink, wink, Ronikin. Wink, wink, live action, Ronnie and wink, wink.
And like I said before, if they wanted to do another live action Loud House movie with this cast, they got to do it immediately because remember they all grow up, so you may not have the same old cast like you have here.
Yeah, they grow up fast. And the thing is, like, once they grow up fast, like, you're not going to be able to have these actors play as their respective characters anymore. You got to get brand new actors. And, God knows if those new actors are going to pull off the exact same kind of performance quality as these actors do. Highly doubt they will.
I highly doubt it too. I mean, they look like a really tight knit family, and it feels like I cannot see them like anymore else than like another cast to say. Like if you replace like one of these characters, I will say like kind of ruin the little vibe there. Have this family still together, and if you're gonna make another live action Loud House movie, please have them all back because it feels like they are one legit family for sure. One other note to say, Jazier Bruno, he is now the new Clyde McBride for Loud House season 6 and moving on. You've seen him over in the Loud House movie. Is he a perfect fit for Clyde McBride moving forward?
I like it. I like it. That's all I got to say.
That is okay. So yes, it is. He is legit Clyde McBride, and it's definitely gonna show. Cool. So if you haven't noticed, Jazier Bruno will be Clyde McBride. It's from season 6 going forward. Sorry, I'm gonna miss Andre Robinson, but Jazier Bruno still has it's a good replacement to say.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm gonna say this right now. Wolfgang has the potential to be the next voice actor for Lincoln Loud. Like after Asher Bishop, as much as I love Asher Bishop is the best Lincoln Loud in my opinion. I hope that he doesn't get recasted anytime soon. But once he does get hit puberty and once he does get recasted, I can think of no other actor to pull off Lincoln than Wolfgang.
For sure, for sure. All right. Now it's our overall ratings on this movie. Omid, I'm gonna start off with you. What is your overall rating of the movie, A Loud House Christmas?
After really thinking about it and after really delving into this movie, looking at its pros and looking at its cons, altogether, I'm just gonna say it's gonna be a 6.5 out of 10. Like
Okay,
after
not
really
bad.
thinking about it, like it was originally a 7, but after rewatching it and after rethinking about it and thinking of how the live action Christmas movie could have turned out to be better than it was. Honestly, that's what sort of like lowered it just a tiny bit more, like from 7 to 6.5. Now there was some good like things about it, like when the good stuff that's in this movie, they nailed it perfectly. Like they nailed it to a T. They captured the Loud House spirit, like the chase scene I mentioned. The humor is spot on. Like the casting and production design is excellent, and all that stuff. Like the spirit is there. But what ruins it, like what sort of like diminishes the movie as a whole is like I said, like story wise, like how it's written, especially with Lincoln's character being.
Mm, looks like he's frozen. Uh-oh. Are you there, Omid? Sorry.
I'm
Say it
there.
again. Sorry, say it
I'm
again.
there. Now, like I said before, the aesthetics and the heart of the movie is excellent. But when it comes to like more fundamental stuff like story and Lincoln Loud per se, I feel like they could have put as much of quality on those aspects as they did with the aesthetics as before. Like if they have done that, then it would have been a much higher rate. But like considering how the story felt a bit lackluster and how Lincoln regress, like went backwards to being, the season one Lincoln Loud, how it followed the formula. Like I said, that's what made it a 6.5, said something that could have been much higher.
Mhm. All right, that's a lot of good reasoning there. From all the things that I've said, I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. To say the least, it is kind of like a Christmas classic, but then again, it's more of like a Loud House Christmas classic. I wouldn't expect like some new fans to actually check out this Loud House movie just because they don't know what the Loud House is. They will have to probably watch the Loud House movie or even start the series in order to actually get a full understanding of this. Because it literally, when you watch it for the first time, it literally drops you into what the Loud House is. Yeah, it's a boy with 10 sisters, but you don't actually fully know who the 10 sisters are. You just are pretty much mixed into like who they are. It isn't like a good intro, like for example, the Loud House movie, where you actually get to see them get introduced one by one, how they got born, how each got into the fashion sense, and how each got into their own quirks and everything. So, like this is not a good intro movie to say the least. And the other thing too is like, okay, so the only thing I would like here is the acting. The acting is perfect. Everybody's absolutely great when it comes to their acting. The story wasn't great because of obviously going back into the season one Lincoln Loud formula, which we don't like. We thought we was going to be an immature Chad Lincoln that we're going to be looking at in this, because you have it in season 5 where you have Lori in college, you have Luanne and Sam together. So you're thinking that Lincoln will not be like, the same old jerk where he's just going to change out all these things, having that quote unquote Lincoln Loud formula I don't mean is talking about, but we did. And it kind of tells me like, why are we going back to season 1 where we're supposed to be in season 5 episode, or is it season 5 timeline to say? But story and execution, not that great. I mean, the execution was great. Acting was amazing. But like I said, the story was definitely not to par. So nonetheless, my rating is still a 7 out of 10. It's weird because like every time it comes on Nickelodeon, I just end up watching it. So it just tells you like it is kind of like a Christmas classic to say.
I would say it's a Christmas classic, and like I said, it's not a bad movie by any means. It's just not a great one either. It's just
It's not
good.
great.
It's just good.
It's good. It's not like Loud House movie material. It's just more like, this is the same old basic like Loud House. This is the same old what was it? Live action adaptation movie that doesn't really get into like the stellar categories or anything like that. This is just your basic like live action adaptation that turns out to be pretty well.
Yeah, but like I said, when you really compare the two Loud House movies that came out this year, you can definitely tell which is the superior one. You can tell which is the much better one.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
we can talk more about that in our next Loud Casa Talks episode. But that's pretty much it for our Loud House Christmas review. It was a pretty long one, but there was a lot to talk about, especially the fact that this was not bad of a movie.
Yeah, like I said before, like it had some good parts, it had some bad parts. But when you really evaluate the movie as a whole, let me tell you, when you look at it, you see that this is quite a good Christmas treat, a good Christmas gift per se.
Yeah, for the Loud House fans for sure. So that's pretty much it for our Loud Casa Talks episode. Remember that you can listen to the Loud Casa Talks wherever you listen to podcasts like Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, where Loud Casa Talks will be there for you to listen to. Remember, we do have our YouTube channel as well. So please subscribe so you can be notified about when we come on. Click the bell so we can be notified when when we come on. And subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so that whenever we drop videos, you can be able to see it. So our next Loudcast Talks episode will be the last episode of 2021, which means that this is our annual best of episode. We're gonna look back into all the best episodes of Loud House and the Casa Grandes. We got to look back at all the great news that happened for the Loud House and the Casa Grandes, plus also look back at the movies like the Loud House movie and a Loud House Christmas. So we're going to be having our best of 2021. That's going to be next Sunday, I think. Hopefully plans don't change or rise, but we'll see. Our tentative schedule will be on Sunday, 12/20. So hopefully you'll be here and we'll talk about what was great in 2021 for the Loud House and the Casa Grandes.
Yeah, so definitely get ready for a final treat for you guys, like the final video of 2021 before we get ready for the new year, which is 2022, baby.
For sure. All right, and that's pretty much it for us here. From all of us here at La Casa Talks, my name is Nate.
And this is Omid saying thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening to what we had to say about this movie. And let me just say, I hope you all have happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and whichever holiday that you celebrate. Let me just say, have fun spending it with your family and friends and loved ones. And until next time, smell you later and Merry Christmas, loud crowd.